you got it here again. Who heard a story that was pretty good? No one heard a story that was pretty good? Okay, so we have one here. Whose did you hear? It was Melina's? Okay, so in a moment we're going to get a story from Melina. By the way, there's going to be a lot of volunteering today. I think right now our hands are in our pocket, but there's going to be more volunteering today than there's ever been. There's going to be more group participation than there's ever been today. So we're just going to have to kind of get warmed up to it. This is a good place to start. So we'll have Melina's story come up first. Let's get two more folks, two more stories that we think are great that the whole group should hear. Let's get two more. Jonathan, I saw you point.
There was a good one they said over here.
There was a good one over here. Whose story was it?
First.
Okay, so we're going to have her come up in just a couple moments. And then who was the third story? Michael. Okay, and we've got Michael as well. So who would like to go first? Let's welcome her up with a great big round of applause. So Teresa, come on to the front. Tell us your story. What happened?
Hi. Well, last Tuesday, I was talking to my dealer in Virginia. Him and his wife recently moved to Georgia because his wife took a teaching job at the university. So we were talking. He was spending a week in Virginia at the dealership, and he was talking about how business had been slow. The guys hadn't sold very many cars, and how long his trips are going back and forth. So as we generated and continued that conversation, I asked him what his plan was for tax season as far as getting those customers in, and I talked to him about our pre-approved mailer. So I introduced him to the pre-approved mailer, we went over all the details, and I closed a 10,000 piece mailer.
Wow. Whoa! For just a second. So what's the one thing you did that made all the difference there?
I listened to him talk about how business is slow. And that was my opportunity in for a sale.
Awesome. Wasn't that a great story? Yeah. Let's give her another round of applause. Thank you very much. So for Teresa, we have a copy of The Sales Advantage. This is the Dale Carnegie book that lays out our entire approach to selling. So what we'll ask her to do, each of you to do, is go ahead and write a note to Teresa. By the way, is it T-H or T-E?
T-H.
T-H-E-R-E-S-A. So Scott, if you wouldn't mind signing that, passing it around, that book will be coming to you in a few minutes, Teresa. You're very welcome. Let's give her one more round of applause. And then who is next? We had two more stories coming up. Let's welcome up Melina with a great big round of applause.
So my incident was with a dealer that is, they started off not doing anything, and then they were like, who's CPS? And they all did a conference call, and they all asked questions, and I was kind of new at the time, and I was really like nervous, but I started getting business from them and built relationships. But the incident was 1 month.
Hey, in just a second, I'm going to do something, and you're going to be mad at me for it, so you can punch me if you want, but I'm just going to take this. No, I'm just trying to punch you. Keep going.
Okay, so the incident was we funded a lot of deals 1 month.
Yep.
And my action was give my dealer a balloon. So I bought them lunch for that, and they were really appreciative. And
it's okay. I know. I was mean. It was mean of me. So let's just think about it. So the action you took was that you're going to give the dealer a balloon.
I gave them a balloon.
Okay. So, but tell us a little bit more about the story. What was happening? So paint the picture for us, just to your memory. Like, what was going on? What happened? Take us back. Like, just talk us through, like, one day or last Thursday or what?
Oh,
yeah.
So
start from the top. Yeah, go for it.
So yeah, so 1 month they were just funding and sending me packages, and we were funding them, and at the end of the month I was really excited. I was like, hey, thank you so much for all the deals, and I really appreciate it. Can I get you guys lunch? I just want to show my appreciation, and they were like, yeah, sure. So I ended up just ordering them lunch and paid for it, and I just felt like it was a bonding time moment, like,
yeah.
Hey, what do you want to eat? And we talked about the food, and like, oh, that's what you like, just type thing, it kind of was just a little bit more of a connection, and I felt like, I don't know, it really helped. That was just kind of a benefit for them. They felt like a VIP, like, I don't know, just really important.
And when we make our dealers feel like VIPs, what's going to happen for us?
I feel like they treat us like VIPs.
Let's give her a huge round of applause. Before you let her sit down, just give her one or two things you loved about her story. Everybody likes a lunch, right? So great example. We had a great example from Teresa. We had a great example from Melina. Melina, tell us how you spell your name again one more time.
M-E-L-I-N-A.
M-E-L-I-N-A. So again, if you wouldn't mind starting this book, we've got a copy of Sales Advantage for Melina in just a second. And then we had one more example to come up. Let's welcome up Michael with a great big round of applause.
All right, so my incident happened December 14th. I have a dealer that's been pretty consistent. I signed her up, a couple months back, and she's done about 5 deals a month. And then I noticed nothing was going on from the start of the month, so I had them on my list to keep calling and calling. I've been leaving voicemails. Finally, after the first class, I was like, I gotta figure out something else. On my way home, I sent her a text message. Finally, she responded. She's like, oh, I've been out, I'll call you tomorrow. She came in the next day. They had a deal that's been held up while she's gone. I saved it, got the deal in the next day, funded that Friday. So when she called me, I was like, hey, the power of a text message, right? That was the only way to reach her. I've been leaving voicemails and the text. Utilizing my tools to my advantage.
So what was going on? She was out?
She was out. So I was calling and leaving voicemails and she wasn't responding, so I started freaking out. What did I do? What's going on?
Yeah.
So then, on my way home, I just thinking, and I couldn't type it, so I just talked it and, I stopped a little bit and slowed down and redid a couple things, but it worked. She responded, and the next day got a deal out of it that funded that week, so.
Nice.
Let's give him a great big round of applause. You just keep standing for a second. So what's one or two things that we loved about Michael's story there?
Persistence.
So like the persistence and kind of that creativity, right? I mean, you guys know in Hollywood what they mean by the fourth wall? What's the fourth wall?
Looking at the camera.
Yeah, it's actually, so say it again a little bit louder, Kyle.
Looking at the camera.
Looking at the camera is breaking the fourth wall. So if you've ever seen the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it's one of the famous movies where they break the fourth wall. He talks directly to the audience, right? It's unique and it surprises people. And sometimes when you break the fourth wall, like you're talking about there, by sending them a text or reaching out to them personally, it completely changes the dynamic of the relationship in a really positive way. So let's give Michael a great big round of applause again. And Michael, for you, we have a copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is the Dale Carnegie Classic, upon which a lot of this material is based. So we're going to pass this around and get signatures in there. Should we put Michael or Mike, or what do you prefer?
Mike's fine.
Mike, M-I-K-E? Yep. Okay, so if we could start this standing to Mike, and then we'll pass it around and we'll get it to you in the couple moments. So as you've noticed, we've started giving out a lot of prizes. Next week, we're going to give out the big one, okay? How many of us have ever heard of Warren Buffett? Who's Warren Buffett? So what did you say it was he's a billionaire, right? He's the CEO and founder of Berkshire Hathaway. Know anything else about Warren Buffett?
He lives very modestly.
He does.
In Nebraska.
Right? He has a home near Omaha that's worth, he says, a little over $100,000, right? Now it turns out he has a home for his wife, or his ex-wife named Susie, here in Corona Del Mar, which is not particularly modest, quite a nice home. But he does, right? He kind of keeps it low key. There's something interesting about Warren Buffett that you may not know. He is a famous, perhaps our most famous, Dale Carnegie graduate. And if you read the book, The Snowball, which is Warren Buffett's story, his life story, his memoir, what he says is that the Dale Carnegie certificate is the most important degree that he has. In fact, it's the only one that hangs on the wall of his office, his Dale Carnegie certificate. Mr. Buffett won a prize from us. And this is the prize that will be awarded next week. Okay? In this box is a Dale Carnegie writing instrument in iridium blue. Imagine yourself passing this to a client to sign a deal with. Okay? It says Breakthrough Award. And I'll put it out so everyone can see it. One person in here, by your vote, will be awarded this pen next week. That's pretty exciting. Now, how could you get the pen? It says Breakthrough Award. So what should we vote for? Best looking. What's that? The best looking, is that what you said? And if it was, then you would definitely get that award. So he's talking about breaking the fourth wall, right? This is a breakthrough award for the person who, by your vote, has made the most progress over the last 5 days. Good with that? Mm-hmm. So we'll give that award at the end of the next session, which is tomorrow. Sound good? The breakthrough award. The person by your vote who has made the most progress over the last 5 days. Now, progress can be measured in a lot of different ways. You have to decide in your heart what progress means. Maybe this is someone whose attitude has changed quite a bit. Maybe they've picked up some techniques. Maybe they picked up a couple tools. Maybe you heard a great story from them like you did from Teresa a few moments ago, or our other presenters, right? So whatever that is, that's how you're going to vote for that person who in your mind has made the most progress over the last 5 days. Good. There's some other prizes we're awarding today as well. You remember what those are?
$500.
What's that again?
$500.
I actually upped the ante on it. So the first prize, actually the second prize, is going to be a chance to win up to $800. First prize is going to be a chance to win up to $1,000. Good with that? Yeah. So the question is, how do we get our hands on these prizes, Alex? I know my name's not Alex, but I like to play like I'm the guy from Jeopardy. So the question is basically, how do we get there? And the answer is pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to practice in just a couple of moments exactly the system that we worked on last week. Do you remember the system? I know one person who remembers the system. What was the system we came up with? What are the parts to it?
It's who?
Could you stand up for just a second and just tell us all what are the different parts? Go ahead. Let's give him a quick round of applause.
It's going to be who, so who you're trying to get hold of. It's going to be reaching the right person. It's going to be paraphrase, questions, and I believe solutions.
So this is a call where you've reached the right person. Okay, so you happen to have that person on the phone. First thing is, just like Michael said here a second ago, it is Michael, right? Yeah. You're going to have to explain to them who's the right person. This is the who that I need you to be for me. Okay. Then the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to do like a little quick introduction. Hi, this is Michael calling from CPS. Okay. Then you're going to use your power phrase. Then you're going to ask some good questions. What are the 4 types of questions? Remember?
As is.
As is.
Should be.
Should be.
Benefit.
Barrier. Payout. Right? Once you've done those, you're going to use a technique that we didn't really talk about last week called a capability statement. I'll show you how that works in just a couple of minutes. Once you've asked those questions, you've told them we can solve the problem, what are you going to have to do next, Michael?
You're going to have to close the deal.
Yeah, you're going to have to show them what the solution is and then close the deal. So let's give him a great big round of applause. So first thing again is you're going to introduce yourself. Then you're going to use a power phrase. What page is power phrase on? $2.11. Then you're going to ask some good questions, right? There's 4 types. There's as is, there's should be, there's barrier, and there's payout. What pages do those start on? 3.4 is where we define the questions, where we start the questions, okay? Then we're going to use something called a capability statement. It's shortly after page 3.4. If you could find that for me in your manuals, please.
310.
We've got page 310. Do everyone see where that is on page 310?
Yes.
Once you've done that, you're going to present your solution with some evidence. Remember there were all these different types of evidence we could pile in?
Story.
We could use a story, right? That would be an example. We say evidence defeats doubt. So it could be a demonstration, an example, some facts, some exhibits. What's an exhibit we typically use at CPS?
What?
Say that again? So clean deals, fund fast would be like an example or a story. What's an exhibit that we can send out to a client for them to look at?
Email.
Okay, so it could be an email, and in that email we might have some examples of the types of deals we fund. That would be an exhibit. Go for it.
We have like the DK deals where they get a negative fee, so I'll send them like a screenshot of like negative, like huge money back.
Perfect exhibit, right? A screenshot that shows negative and huge money back, right? As we were talking, I heard Danny's story, and Danny also told a great story at the table. He was talking back and forth about with one of his dealers, and the dealer goes, "Hey, that guy who was looking over the contract, he's pretty dry." And Danny goes, "Well, yeah, he's like an auditor. What he does is he reviews deals all day, and it's his job to decide whether they're good deals or not. But that's his job. And as you can understand, we have to have auditors here too to make sure that we have clean deals." Right? So he used an analogy. That could be one type of your evidence. Right? It could be a story, could be an exhibit like Melina pointed out, some kind of evidence you're going to support your solution with. This is what you're recommending they do. And then finally, you're going to close. You're going to ask for the close. You could use a trial close, you could ask them to send you some steps, you could ask them to send you an application, whatever that is. Just like we practiced at the end of last session. Good? The only difference is this one thing called a capability statement. Please look with me on page 310 for a second. Let's talk about how that works. Page 310. You flip with me there? So I'll tell you a quick financing story. So this was Thursday about 8 weeks ago. And I went into to go pitch a deal. And it was me and it was my business partner whose name is Tom. And we sat down across the table from two business owners whose names were Jess and Hans. And what we wanted to do was we wanted to see whether it was time for them to sell their company. And since we're investment bankers, we were going to sell their company for them. Okay? So that's basically a financing deal, right? That's basically what you're doing is you're going to find a big chunk of funding from someone else to acquire that company. So we sat down with this team, we introduced ourselves to them, we talked a little bit, we talked about, at the time, it was right before Thanksgiving, so we talked about what they were going to do for Thanksgiving, we asked them some questions, we built up some rapport, and then we used a power phrase, a couple of examples of other deals that we had done that were similar to theirs. Once we had their attention, we just said, "Hey, do you mind if we ask you a few questions?" And we asked question after question after question. We sat there for almost an hour and a half, just asking questions about them. And just about the time they started to get kind of tired of answering questions, my business partner looks at them and he goes, "It sounds like it's time to sell your company." And it was like he had taken a thorn out of a lion's paw. Right? They were like, "Oh, yeah, it is." Right? That's what happens when we ask a great set of questions. We kind of open up a big issue, and then we tell them we're going to solve it with a capability statement like here on page 310. "Hey, based on what you shared with me, using CPS for subprime and non-prime financing is the ideal way for your dealership to grow your market share. This is going to help you to be recognized as one of the top dealerships in your area." So somewhere in that little paragraph that I just read to you, and by the way, that's in italics on page 310, somewhere in that is the primary interest. Underline the words that in your mind are the primary interest in that sentence. The primary interest, as a reminder, is what the dealer wants. And then the buying motive, which we're going to underline second, is what's their emotional reason for buying. So first you're going to underline in that sentence what the dealer wants, and then you're going to underline what's their emotional reason for buying. Remember we talked about Maslow's hierarchy and emotional reasons? So you should have two phrases underlined. What'd you underline?
Grow.
There you go. So we're going to grow your market share. That's the dealer's primary interest. It's what they want. Right? Who underlined something a little different? What'd you underline, Teresa?
Oh, sorry.
Grow your market share, right? What's their emotional reason for buying?
Recognize.
There you go. Recognize as one of the top dealerships. You guys are awesome. That's exactly it. So a capability statement basically tells them what we heard. And it restates their primary interest and what we understand their emotional reason for buying is. Make sense? It's like a test. If they go, yeah, that's what I want, then we can move on to our solution, and we can tell them how we're going to solve it. If they go, well, that's not exactly what I was looking for, what do?
Redirect.
We go back to asking questions, right? We redirect, because we've missed something. Does that make sense? So that's the capability statement. Think of it like a pivot point in your conversation. We pivot on that one issue, and then we move forward to showing them a solution. Good? Now, each of you had been thinking about one particular client that you wanted to work on, right? Michael, who is the client that you're going to be practicing with?
Steve Applebaum.
Okay, who's Steve?
He's a finance director
Yep.
at Charleston Nissan.
Okay, nice. So it's crystal clear who his customer is, right? It's going to be very easy for his partner to play Steve Applebaum. What do you know about Steve?
He's middle-aged. He has a calm voice,
Okay.
and he's sort of busy, but he's kind of like he'll hear what you got to say, but you got to kind of make a time for it.
Makes sense, right? So he's going to hear you out. He's calm voice, which may mean he's analytical, right? So he may want some facts and figures. And he's going to hear you out. He's going to take time to hear you out. So he's not over-the-top driver, sounds like, right? So that's plenty of information for your partner to play. Be thinking about who your partner is going to need to be. So once you have that, just jot down a couple of notes, and I'll give you a place to write them. I think we were already filling out page 316 last week, right? So 316 probably gets you there. Is there anyone who doesn't have anything on 316? It's okay if you don't, just raise a hand. Okay, not there yet? Do you remember who you were practicing with last week? Okay, you all use his one person.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So for you today, you just need to think about somebody you're going to call. Good. Got yours? You did? Well, hang on, that sounds like a good story. Have you told that story yet?
Yeah.
It's a good story? Did it have a happy ending? Okay. So it's a yard sale story? Oh, it's not a good story. So maybe we don't tell that story. Okay, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so we're not going to go there. Okay, fair enough. Sorry, folks, side conversation there. I thought we had another example we should tell. It sounds like maybe we don't. Maybe we shouldn't bring that one up to the room right now. But let's get ready to practice on page 316. Okay. Sue's got one here. It's Bill Ayers. Right, sorry. Okay, you're going to change it to somebody else? You've got someone else in your mind? Is there anyone who does not have a buyer in mind? Everyone ready to go? Yeah. Not yet? Oh, your partner who spoke Farsi is not here anymore. Okay. So you're going to find a new partner. You can use potentially the same buyer or someone else. Good? So what we're going to do is we're going to go into triads. We're going to practice these in threes. Just like we've done before, there's three jobs. There's CPS, there's the dealer, and there's the coach, right? So go ahead and find your groups of threes. It should be two people who are not at your table. Go ahead and find your groups of threes, two people who are not at your table. Feel free to bring your notes with you.